everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ask Me Anything. We're here to answer your estate planning, asset protection, trust question, your probate question. Any question you have, send them in. We'll answer them for free right here just for you. First question. I'm planning to leave an emotional and verbally abusive marriage and making a safe plan to leave. I got a job and have been pre-approved to buy a home. Can my husband try to fight for the house if he finds out? I'm sincerely doing this for my safety and my kids. We don't have anything shared. He has his own accounts and I have my own. We don't have anything to split as we kept things separate. Can the divorce process be fast once I file? I'm looking for someone who can do the paperwork. I need to know my rights. I don't want anything from him, only to be at peace. So in California, when you get married, your marriage has a community property estate. Now, if you have money prior to that marriage, that's considered your separate property. So that can stay with you as long as you keep it separate. So it sounds like you and your husband kept things separate, but that doesn't mean that while you're married and earning money and acquiring assets, that those assets will remain separate. In fact, your income that you were earning is community property. There's no way to get around that. Even in a prenup, California doesn't recognize it. All income is considered community property. There's no exceptions. So the income you've made, where have you been putting that income? Have you been putting it with your separate property assets? That's a risk, because that means you might be commingling your separate property assets with community property. If you are not divorced yet and you go and purchase a home, yes, you are going to have a problem where husband can come and claim, oh, that home that you purchased it with money that you made income while we were married. It's community property. So my recommendation is to not purchase the home just yet. You might have to file for separation if you're worried about what's going to happen to you and your kids once you do that. If you think your husband's going to retaliate, which I'm so sorry that you're in this situation. I know that is a very scary situation to be in. The good example to look at, not California, but New York, Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise. Katie Holmes was also worried for her safety. She wanted to file for legal separation, and she too made a plan on what to do. But she did not go buy new property. As a result of that, she started renting a unit, a separate apartment. So my recommendation is, in this interim period, while you're looking to file for a divorce, you should probably find an apartment to rent. Now, granted, I'm an estate planning trust lawyer. I am not a family lawyer, so you should probably run this by a divorce lawyer. Is your divorce and separation going to be fast once filed? No, not at all. There's nothing fast about divorce. Even when couples are amicable and they want to get split up, it still takes a good amount of time to go through lawyers, go through the court, get everything separated, get everything disclosed to a judge, and finally get your approval for legal separation and your separation of assets. It might be a little easier since you have had all of your stuff separated. And fortunately in California, anyone can get a divorce for any reason at all. There doesn't have to be a circumstance of adultery or fault. We have no fault divorce in California. That's what that means. So the moment you file, you're in the races to start separating everything and go from there. But because you have kids, there is going to be stuff. Your husband might try to push back when it comes to custody and stuff like that. So this is definitely something you should have a divorce attorney speak with you with. On the assets and estate planning side, I can tell you, don't buy that home just yet, because it probably will get dragged into the divorce and your husband might make a claim that is community property. So just be very clear and aware of that. All right, next question. My father wants to quitclaim his house to me before he dies, rather than include it in his will. Is this a good idea? If you've been watching my videos in the past, you've probably have heard me say all the time, it is better for children to inherit property rather than to just gift property to your children. The reason for this is tax reasons, okay? Yes, if your father quitclaims the house to you now, it will avoid probate. If he leaves the house to you in his will, the house is gonna go through probate, and that's gonna cost a lot of money. Who's gonna pay for it? Your father's estate. But if your father doesn't have the money to pay for the court fees, the attorney fees, the executor fees, the bond fees, all that stuff, then the house is going to be forced to be sold by the court in order to pay everyone their dues to get that house out of probate. So what's probably better is, yeah, I would rather your father leave the home to you in his estate plan, probably by setting up a trust. A trust is like a will substitute in the fact that it is a document that says, here's what happens to my assets if something happens to me. But a trust is a private document. It doesn't go through court. And get this, all wills have to go through court. All wills have to be authenticated by a judge. So if your father is relying on a will to pass the home to you, the house is going into court. If your father builds a trust, moves the home into the trust, and makes you the beneficiary of that trust, just like making you the beneficiary of the will, the home will avoid court and go to you. No fees, no nothing, okay? Now, here's the reason why I would rather your father give you his home via his estate plan rather than gifting it to you now. It's called tax. Haha. What happens when you pass away and people inherit property from you? The cost basis of the assets that you have, stock, bonds, homes, Bitcoin, right? It jumps up to the fair market value at the time of death. So let's say you inherit this home from your dad. And let's say you want to then sell it because you can't afford to pay the property taxes, or you have no need for a second home if you already have one. Well, the moment you sell it, you're going to be paying capital gains taxes on the value that your parents originally paid for it. Because when they gift the home to you via quitclaim deed today, they're also gifting the original cost basis of the home, the original purchase price of the home. So if the fair market value is substantially higher, which in California, a lot of our homes have gone up in value substantially, those gains you will pay tax on. But what if you inherit the home from your dad? Instead of inheriting it at the original purchase price, you're going to inherit it at the fair market value. So if you then sell it, you're not paying any taxes. If you don't understand that, that means you need a little bit more of a deeper conversation with me. Schedule some time. I'll be happy to provide clarity.